Well, this is shocking. So, apparently, Silicon Valley Bank is now under the water, and that got me thinking about a lot of stuff. First of all, uh, I got $40 in that bank, and I want it back. And I'm not kidding. I want my $40 back. So just to back up a little bit, I got the news today. I was watching CNN this afternoon, and I saw Silicon Valley Bank in the news, and I was like, "What? Like what? What are you talking about?" And turns out that I immediately went to the website, and this is what I got. This message that says Silicon Valley Bank, blah 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 blah, unavailable throughout the weekend. Will resume in accordance with blah. And then it's like they mentioned that feds were at the not feds, FBI or police agents were at the bank, like physically in front of the bank, barring people from coming in, and it was just like a bunch of chaos. And I was like, "What? You're joking?" Anyway, so it turns out that these guys, I just did some quick Googling. I by no means plan to read the news to you, but it turns out that these guys have just collapsed overnight, and um, apparently on March 8th, they tried to raise $2.5 billion dollars to plug a hole. To plug a hole. Okay? So, you know what? I'm so frustrated and angry about some of these things that are going on, but I'm not going to go on to a rant about the world and the economy and all that type of stuff. That's not my goal with this video. I just care about startups. I care about the startups. I care about the startup people that are struggling, including myself, that go through these ups and downs roller coaster ride and try to do the right thing. Try to do the right thing by being loyal to our employees, between being loyal to our customers, trying to build a better future, right? And I'm not saying that all startups are perfect. I got my share of financial woes, but this type of situation where you see these financial companies that are just risking it all and have no fallbacks, but more importantly, that the regulations are not set up to kind of catch these things earlier on. In fact, I think there was one girl in CNN. Well, not in fact, she was on CNN. This girl here on CNN, and I don't know how they got her on so fast, but basically she apparently got a tip from her investor, like a couple days before or something like that, because he was freaking out, which means his money had probably gotten freezing up or something, and he was like, "Listen, you're like the last startup that I have in my belt that I could like get back my money from. So you go to the bank and like get your money." I don't know if that's the case. I'm just making the story up, right? But normally, I mean, like if an investor's freaking out, but basically what he's thinking is like, "Damn, all my investors are frozen. I got a startup that has some actual physical cash for me. So if she could just save her money, then maybe I could get back some of my money later on, maybe in the future or whatever, right?" Like that's these guys are money people, so they think very differently from you and I. Anyway, and then I saw that I was like, wow, this is kind of crazy. And then I got an email from my Stripe account, and they were like, important, Stripe at last, which by the way I'm a customer of. So I wasn't joking about my $40. Just to be clear, I legit have $40 in that bank, and I want every penny back. I want every cent of it back in my account. So so Silicon Valley Bank was taken over by FDIC, blah blah blah, right? And so we're working really hard to figure out what to be doing. And so they've made some recommendations on two different banks that you can bank with, which I'm a customer of Mercury. Because first of all, I'm a customer of Stripe at last. No, hang on. Does this have personal information in there? Let me just make sure. So before I put this out on the internet, hang on. Tax ID. Yeah, okay, cool. Form. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no personal information. Sorry, I just gotta double check that because I'm just doing this, just my random thoughts. So anyway, so Mercury FDIC. Yeah, so I have an account there. Maybe I shouldn't be disclosing where I have all my accounts, but anyway, the point is that for a startup, if you're a customer of FDIC, if you're a customer of Silicon Valley Bank and you've been burnt by this, I would suggest that you do one of two things, which I did a couple months ago, actually, not even years, a couple months ago, is I started diversifying my bank accounts because there's just been I've just well, first of all, I've had some issues from a banking perspective. My account being locked for whatever reason. I've had issues with transfers, limitations, etc. So that really got me onto this. You know what? When I deal with servers, I load balance. If you don't understand the concept of load balance, is when a request comes into a website, you could serve it on one of multiple different servers. So you put a server in East US, in the East Coast of America. You put a server in the West Coast of America. You put a server in the Central America, in Iowa or something like that, right? So in the case of, like, I don't know, an asteroid hit West Coast of America, you still got Central America and East Coast America that could sync. So that's called load balancing, right? So I was like, why would I put? Why it just like just overnight? It was like just had this light bulb moment. Like, why am I putting all my money in one bank account? Because I just think, like, I need to diversify. Now I still heavily have a primary bank account and then just secondary, but the point is that I think you just need to diversify. And so that's what I did. You know, this is coming from a guy that, like, you know, have had his account locked by the government, all right, for taxes and stuff. That's a whole other conversation. Not don't want to go into that in this video. But the point is that I've been there, done that. When it comes to, like, getting accounts locked, I know a thing or two about getting accounts locked. So this hits home to me very closely, and I feel it for the startup people that are in this right now, sort of going through this turmoil in this particular situation, because, you know, some large financial company decide to just do crap with their money. And my personal opinions about Silicon Valley Bank is, I just personally I do not like the company. I won't use the word hate. It is a strong word. It's reserved for not many things, but but anyway, the point is that I don't like that bank. I got fooled into thinking Silicon Valley Bank was this, like, cool startup bank that had, you know, all their bells and whistles together. And the first thing, this was like, I don't know, I think 2019 is when we got our account, or maybe 2018, somewhere around there, when we got our Silicon Valley Bank account. And it was by far the worst. Like, banking apps are bad in general. This was by far the worst. Like, the experience, the user, the website, doing transfers in and out. It was just that at the time that was the only choice that we had, and I just had to do it. So as a result, I you know, we banked with them for years on end, and at one point when we got some investor money from the US, because we got some US investors, that money went straight into that bank account. So you know, $40 is left out of that account. not left from that money is long gone. But the point is that I've only been keeping the Silicon Valley Bank account just as a third backup. In fact, I'm not even making this up. I literally have the card. Let me just make sure that no information here is information. This thing, yeah. So put my thing, but yeah, there. See, I literally have. Can't see it. It says Silicon Valley Bank. Like, the card's just been sitting on my desk for a bit here, because I've been meaning to activate it, but I don't really use the account anymore. So I was like, I don't really care. They just sent that to me, like, I don't know, like maybe a month or so ago. So this really, really hits home, is my point, and I just feel it for all the startups that are out there that are struggling. So if you are in that position and you need a better bank account, I would highly recommend. So this is my only recommendation here in this video, Brex. So this is my these guys are really, really good. When I was very desperate, long story on that particular front, I was able to sign up maybe about like 11 p.m. for a bank account, and by 4 a.m. so 11 p.m. 4 a.m. so call it the 5 hours or whatever difference, right? In 5 hours time, I was able to get a bank account set up and get a virtual credit card that I was able to then put into my another system to charge some money. The problem is I had $0 in the account when I got it set up, and I had to actually transfer money from Silicon Valley Bank to Brex in order to do it. So that's my opinion there. So I would strongly recommend these guys. In fact, I didn't get my physical card from them for like another, I think it was like probably a good, if it's not, maybe not a month, maybe like a good three weeks, but somewhere around there, three to 4 weeks. It took me like 3 to 4 weeks to get a physical card. Had I had actually wait that long to put my credit cards in certain places to do money transfers, I probably would have been screwed. So they're really really effective. And then as a secondary, Stripe already mentioned this, but I'm just mentioning it again. Mercury. So these are the two banks that I could kind of. I'm never going to vouch for these guys, but what I can say is they're a little bit better than thing. They understand startup, the tools and the experience that they did. These guys, I did sign up with them. I do have an account with them. The process is a little bit more lengthy. They had to do like identification by face and a little bit more work on their part, so you could argue they're a little bit more better. But in fact, one of my addresses weren't matching up because of the US, my situation. I live in Canada and that kind of stuff. So at one point they had to reach out to support and message me, and I had to send them like some sort of documents or whatever. But the point is that they were able to serve it, and it took, I think it was about it took maybe about a week, maybe a little bit less than that, like about 3 or 4 days, I would say. But the point is that in 3 or 4 days I was able to get that, only because there was, like I said, a little confusion here. But it's a pretty good bank as well too. I was able to get a card, all that type of stuff, so that was good. Novo, I can't really say much about these guys because I don't really know. However, if Stripers recommend them, I got some confidence in the Stripe team, so I think this is also a good alternative. So let's throw that out there. But this is just my raw 2 cents opinion about the sort of the Silicon Valley Bank situation, and my heart goes out to any of the startup people out there that are struggling as a result of this just fiasco crisis that these people put us through from a financial standpoint. Right? You already got enough stress as a startup founder, and just to have one more like just curveball like this is just, so my heart goes out to you guys. So that's it for today. Thanks.